the craziest non-anime gig I ever had was I got cast on camera, which I normally don't even go out for on camera auditions because I'm being kind of like awkward. And I'm the furthest from Travis as possible, like he books this sort of thing. I got to play opposite of Garth Brooks in a Walmart commercial.
Oh my gosh.
It was the weirdest thing all around. Like,
I recognize that actually.
oh my gosh.
Yeah, I did. I was
It's,
like, wow.
yeah, you made the connection. Like, I got cast on this Walmart commercial, like with Garth Brooks. Apparently, a few Christmases ago, he was releasing his box set only to Walmart or something like that.
Yeah.
So he was doing a series of commercials, and I had to play this dude who was like really excited and hanging out with Garth Brooks. And we had to run up the sidewalk to my friend's house and like knock on the door. And you're like, check it out, I got Garth or something, which sounded to me kind of like a disease. It's really bad, check it out. But it was such a trip. It took an entire, like, what I just told you was my entire contribution to that whole commercial. I literally ran up the sidewalk, said, check it out, I got Garth. And then I went like this, like, oh my gosh, I can't, it's really weird, isn't it? He's standing right next to me. And that was it. Oh yeah, and there was one part at the end of the commercial where a girl goes, hey guys, and I have to turn around and I give a questioning look, like, what do you want, lady? Well, that took a week to film that whole thing. It really did. Like, I got out there and it was just, all it was like costume, like wardrobe fitting the first day, which I was scared of in and of itself, because it was like a Walmart wardrobe fitting. And I'm not gonna, like, their clothes are very utilitarian. They aren't necessarily always meant to make you look really good. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be on a commercial that like a lot of people are gonna see, and it's possible I might not be wearing clothes that fit me entirely. But then actually it all went okay. But it was a trip to like work on anything with Garth Brooks because he didn't like me very much from the very start. Well, when we ran down the sidewalk the first time on the very first take, it's like you're not even meant to hear anything that I'm saying. We're just running up together. Like, we're just running up a sidewalk. It's MOS, which is a German word for mit out sound or something. It means no, there would be no voice on this whatsoever. So I'm just running up, supposed to be just ad-libbing whatever. I'm like, dude, Garth, you're gonna love my friend's house. He's got every game system. He's got a PlayStation 2 and an Xbox 360. And then they cut, and Garth Brooks was like, excuse me, how about on the next take you maybe, like, as we're running up, maybe talk a little bit about my albums or something like that? Well, that was a problem because I didn't know any of his albums. So the next take I was like, man, you're gonna love my friend's house. He's got all of your albums with the one with the horses and stuff like that. He did not like me anymore after that. And I haven't told this story too often, so I don't mind sharing it again. But there was one moment where, there was one moment on the set because Garth Brooks owned that set. Like, because Garth Brooks said, I want to have my, box set released in Walmart. Walmart was ready to basically change the name of their store to Garth Mart if he had said something. Anything you want, Mr. Brooks. There was just one rule: you weren't supposed to talk about that alter ego character he had a while back. Chris Gaines. Like, I remember, like, I got on the set and I was like, so what does he think about Chris Gaines? Like, we don't talk about Chris Gaines. But there was one moment on the set where as I said, anything he wanted to do, anything he wanted to do, he got to do. So there was one moment where they had this giant $50,000 camera they'd already set up. He's like, I got an idea. I think we should turn the camera around and we would just get a tight close-up of my face for that last scene. Like, well, it would take us kind of a while to turn this entire set around and film it from the other direction. But if it's what you want to do, Mr. Brooks, absolutely. So they just broke everything. It took most of the morning and half of the afternoon to turn the entire set around and get a close-up of his face. And then they had it ready, and they're like, all right, Mr. Brooks, the camera's rolling. And he just stared into the camera. He just goes, And then for what felt like about 30 minutes, he didn't blink or breathe. But what's weird is that by the end of, I don't know how long it was, it really felt like a really long time. And I went through a variety of different emotions. Like, first I was like, wow, that guy's like, he's a robot. Maybe he's a robot programmed to be really nice to women and children. And then I was like, he's a really mean robot for making us all sit here while he stares into this camera. And then a little while later, I think everybody in the room, guy or girl, didn't matter. After a while, everybody had this moment of, he's a really handsome cowboy, you know? So I guess like, he knew what he was doing. But yeah, I asked him a question once. There were all these people like hiding on the side of the set, like way in the back corners and up in trees and in the houses and stuff. Like as far, like as close as they could get. I was like, isn't it crazy, Garth? Like he's like, what's crazy? Like all these people, you know, like, did you ever imagine that you'd be in this place? Nothing's crazy, listen, it hurts your kids. I think he was still pissed off at me for the whole like PlayStation, Xbox, like I don't know what any of your albums are.